Hello my loves, and welcome to the fourth and final part of this mini-series that's all about you learning how to control your brain and take power back over your life once and for all, break any self-sabotaging tendencies or patterns that you might be struggling with on a day-to-day basis, whether it's an addiction, whether it's a negative belief system, whether it's negative self-talk. It could be really anything, but you know that it's not serving you. I'm here to help you learn exactly how to break out of those things. And if you guys were here for the last video where we dived into illusion and addictive tendencies and how your brain actually does that and how self-sabotaging tendencies actually get developed, I highly recommend that you check that video out just so you can understand the why before you get to the how, because I love how people just love to skip to the how. Well, here's the thing, guys. If you don't figure out your why to what is gonna keep you motivated to want to stick to breaking out of these negative habits you might have developed for yourself, what is the point of learning neuroplasticity in the first place? I do this every single day. I do this and I embody it whenever I can, and I practice self-awareness like it is life or death because I know that these are the ultimate things that keep me from going back to old habits. You guys got to remember something. You have lived most of your life in these negative self-sabotaging tendencies and habits. You have lived less of your life breaking out of it. Sometimes our brain is going to trick us to want to stay in that comfort zone again and again because fear is going to be that big thing that's going to keep creating paranoia. It's going to create those intrusive thoughts. Remember, it always goes back to fear. I'm here to support you on your journey to self-growth and self-empowerment. Okay, let's get into this. To dive into the topic of discussion here, we got to talk about neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is the brain's remarkable ability to reorganize itself through forming new neural pathways throughout your lifetime. This typically means that our brain can be modified or rewired through repeated practice and experiences in your life. Let me give you an example for this. I'm 24 years old and I know how to drive a car and it's second nature to me. Well, it's because I developed that neural pathway in my brain enough since the beginning of me learning how to drive that now it comes second nature. It's common sense to stop at the red light to me. It's common sense to slow down when it turns yellow. And I taught it to my brain. And the same goes when you want to teach yourself how to break out of unhealthy habits or patterns. You can weaken that exact neural pathway by teaching yourself to do a different thing when you get those feelings, when those triggered feelings come up that lead you to wanting to do that unhealthy habit in the first place. You're basically signing a contract with yourself in that moment saying, I'm never going to let myself think that I am lesser than my emotions. I'm never going to let myself think that I'm lesser than my own freaking brain. By engaging in practices that promote neuroplasticity, anyone can rewire their brain to foster emotional regulation, resilience, adaptability, and overall well-being. I'm going to be giving you guys a step-by-step guide on how you guys can start doing this right now. Step one is going to be awareness. And the reason why awareness is the very first thing here is, well, duh. You guys need to know why you start going towards those routes that lead you to doing things that you know isn't beneficial to you in any way. That awareness is going to help you say, oh, what triggered me to want to do this? For me, my awareness with my eating disorder, it took me a good amount of time, by the way, in this first step to recognize what was actually leading me there. It can be as easy as identifying the emotion, identifying the emotional experience that led you there, and grabbing a journal to write these things down. You can even write down the time of day when it happened and then give yourself a week to kind of experiment and see after the week is done, okay, so why did I keep wanting to do these things throughout this week? You guys are going to start noticing a pattern there, and that is the very, very first step. Notice the pattern, notice the cycles, be aware of yourself. After you've gotten the awareness, after you know the root sources, after you found those triggers, we're going to move into step number two. And step number two is setting the clear, achievable goal. But I really need to preface something. There's not just gonna be one self-sabotaging tendency that we have. We're always gonna have multiple, right? I want you guys to pick the thing that's bothering you the most, work on that until you overcome it, and then work on the next thing, okay? Do not, and I repeat, do not overwhelm yourself and think you gotta fix yourself like that, because it's not gonna work. And I'm trying to save you guys time in your healing journey so you guys can just go be freaking rock stars and not need to keep going again and again to the very beginning of your healing journey. I had to do that many, many times, and I'm trying to save you guys some time. Once you have set a clear goal, something you know you can break into little baby steps, that is going to be your step two. Now after that, we're moving into step three, and step three is mindfulness. Mindfulness is your best friend. And remember when I say this, mindfulness doesn't just need to be meditation. Meditation might not be for you, especially at the beginning. If you're someone who has a lot of chronic stress, anxiety disorder, whatever it may be, meditation might not be the first thing that you're gonna wanna dabble in to start this. Make sure that this is things that you can kind of slide into your life, not force into your life, or else you're gonna give up just like that, and then you're gonna wanna do it maybe months down the line. Mindfulness can be done just by you simply walking around when you're in the middle of work, when you're driving. There are so many different ways you can tap into mindfulness, allowing yourself to ask yourself those self-inquiring questions, going into introspective mode. It's just a matter of whether or not you're willing to get off that autopilot mode and live in the now. You can start by making a dedicated 30 minutes of your day about mindfulness. As long as you're aware and you allow yourself to monitor how your nervous system is acting in those moments, that's what's going to give you those little sprinkles of information on how you're going to be able to overcome your life and anything that you're struggling with once and for all. We're going to move into step number 4, which is challenging the negative systems. This one's going to be pretty tricky because in order to really rewire yourself, you need to challenge the neural pathway that was there to begin with. We got to challenge it by kind of sprinkling in the opposite. Let's say your thing that you're trying to overcome right now is negative self-talk or negative thought patterns. You need to challenge those exact things by doing some positive affirmations. So maybe the perfect step for you today is to make a list of the perfect mantras or affirmations you can repeat to yourself at least 3 to 5 times daily in order to actually get neuroplasticity based effects in your brain. When I started doing affirmations, it was very weird because I didn't really believe in those things that I was saying to myself at the beginning. It was hard for me to believe it, but I forced myself to meet with myself, and I kept doing that for months and months and months. Eventually, I started wanting to make this an ongoing habit. I literally was rewiring myself to believe that I am worth it, that this is important to me. It came second nature for whenever I would feel a negative experience, my brain would just get rewired to start thinking about that positive affirmation I had for myself. When you're trying to overcome anything that has to do with trauma, we let ourselves stay in the victim mindset. And staying in the victim mindset means that there is no room for gratitude. But when there's no room for gratitude, there's no room for growth, because then you're not going to notice that you actually have the perfect setup right now in front of you to start making yourself overcome anything you want. The only way to really do that is by challenging the negative belief systems in the first place. Look at this by step. Take your time doing this, because then we're moving into step number 5. Step number 5 is visualization. Bear with me here because maybe this might sound a little bit too wishy-washy for some of you. There is actual science studies that support the ideology of visualization and how much it actually supports the process of neuroplasticity in the brain. When you're visualizing something, you're actually using the same parts of the brain that needs to be activated when you're actually doing the thing in reality. Visualization is going to kind of come to you in time as you practice the gratitude, as you kind of start rewiring yourself to start looking at the positives in life, because then you're going to start having more beauty. You're going to start being able to see life and romanticize it a little bit more. It's not something that you need to do every single second during this, okay? Or else you're going to drain your brain of energy to continue to stay mindful. And mindfulness is going to be the most important thing, trumping visualization. But then we go into the very last step here, and it is step number 6, which is actually a step that you're going to have to be applying into all the other steps I just mentioned. Consistency. Consistency is going to be the most crucial thing that I want you to take away from this video. Slow and steady is what wins the race. It is inevitable that there might be moments where you might relapse or fall back into the thing that was once very comfortable or comforting for you. And I don't want you guys to be too hard on yourselves when those moments do come up. The consistency aspect to this journey is in the moments after you relapse. Those moments are going to be the most crucial. It's what you choose to do with those seconds after you already relapsed or repeated that old habit that matters the most here, guys. Alcoholism, drug addiction, all that stuff, it's predisposition to make you do those things. You have to have enough willpower to break out of it and say, no, I want to do this because I love myself. If you don't have a healthy love for yourself, you're going to feel like you're endlessly relapsing back into the same old patterns. I actually tried to quit my eating disorder when I was 15 years old. 4 to 5 years, that was me trying to quit, but I just kept relapsing. I'd have phases where I would stay stuck in it and then try to quit. It was only until I turned 20 that I really started taking it seriously, but it was also because I was rewiring my brain slowly during those other years to get myself at a stable enough position within myself to want to really be better. You're building that self-development within you. You're building your character through that. That all takes time. That's why I really want you guys to give yourselves grace in those moments when relapse does happen, when when setbacks do happen, when something out of your control might throw you off guard and make you run towards the thing that was once comforting for you in the first place. Think of relapse as a teacher, not a judge. Because each stumble, each relapse, each setback that you're gonna experience through this journey is just gonna be another beautiful opportunity for you to get to learn more about yourself, the trigger, and all the things that led you to doing those things in the first place. So relapse is gonna be a normal thing. Everyone's gonna experience it, but it doesn't mean that you're a failure. It just means that you're trying and that you got this. I really hope that this video, this entire series, was helpful for you. I made this with as much love as I possibly could. I poured my whole heart and soul into this series to help you guys better yourselves, and just know that I definitely plan on making more series about similar topics that have to do with you rewiring your brain and taking control back for good. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this to help you step into your power, help you become the best version of yourself. In case you just feel called to have a person that is always uploading things that are going to help you stay on the right direction in life. Shoot any comments down below with any questions, or feel free to share with me anything that you're trying to overcome right now. Anything is welcome here, okay? Definitely go start taking these steps today. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. You guys got this. You can do it. You're a lot stronger than you think, okay? Bye.